I don't have a raspberry coulis because I don't like the fruit. The fruit makes me feel sick. Don't know why, but have a little try and I'm gagging. I'm gagging. Hello and welcome back to Amused Bouche. I'm James, obviously. We've got the barbecue season going out next week, but this little pudding is a great recipe if you're going to a party and you need to take a little pudding with you, even if you just want to make it for the weekend and gorge on it. We're making honeycomb and chocolate brownie ice cream cake. Layers of ice cream, layers of chocolate brownie. We're gonna make a little raspberry coulis to go with it. We're gonna make our own honeycomb, tick. We're gonna make our own ice cream, tick. We're obviously gonna make our own brownies, tick. And we're gonna make the coulis, tick. That's a lovely little long list there of items that we're gonna be making on today's show. Honeycomb ice cream, chocolate brownie, combined in a lovely freezer cake. What could be better? Let's get to it. So to get things started, we're making a brownie. Now, I'll put a link in the description below to the trash can brownies that I made about a month ago, but this recipe is taken from there. You'll need 170 grams of light brown sugar, 2 eggs, 80 grams of caster sugar, a teaspoon of vanilla extract, 140 grams of butter, 140 grams of chocolate, about 2 tablespoons of freshly brewed coffee, 70 grams of flour, and 30 grams of cocoa powder. We've all been here before. The butter and chocolate go into a heat-proof bowl over a saucepan of simmering water and let it all melt. Back over to the worktop and into a bowl goes your sugar and your eggs. Now, I wasn't expecting this, but both double yolkers, both eggs. Who'd have thought it? There you go, proof. Your eggs go into the bowl. At this point, you're gonna remember that you should have added your freshly brewed coffee to the melting chocolate and butter. Pop, in it goes, and give it a mix. Back to the bowl, and we're bringing in our good friend on the rocks, whiskey. And I've just heard Ruth shout the word dweeb with me making that joke. We're gonna beat the sugar and eggs to high heaven. It'll go from a muddy brown colour to a light, smooth beige. Ooh, beige. Not the nicest term to describe something, is it? Beige. Still, it'll be beige. Next up, we're going to add our melted chocolate and butter. Let it cool off slightly, we don't want to cook the eggs. Pour it into the sugar and egg mixture and fold it through. Next, we go in with our dry ingredients, our flour and then our cocoa powder. Sieve them through to make sure there's no lumps and give it a good pinch of salt. Fold in all the dry stuff until you're left with a batter which looks and smells and tastes like something you'd love to take a bath in. Line a tray with baking paper and pour in that batter. Smooth it out. You don't want the brownie to be too deep. You want it to cover the whole surface of the baking tray. Get that into an oven at 200 degrees Celsius or Gus Mark 6 for about 25 minutes until firm across the top. And when you insert a cocktail stick, you should be left with a couple of crumbs, not runny batter. Now let's talk honeycomb. Easier than you think. Into a large, heavy bottom pan goes 200 grams of caster sugar and then 5 tablespoons of golden syrup. Or if you can't get hold of golden syrup, you could use honey. Get that onto a medium-high heat and let it melt down. Cook it out for about 5 to 7 minutes until it starts to turn a dark golden brown colour and looks like it's almost foaming and bubbling. Quickly take it back over to the worktop while it's still boiling away and add 2 teaspoons of bicarbonate of soda. This is going to cause a big old reaction and it will start to foam up like this. Make sure that you fully incorporate it and then pour it out onto a baking tray lined with either a silicone sheet or a piece of baking paper. It'll expand like something from a 1950s horror film. Leave it to cool completely and then you'll be left with some lovely brittle honeycomb. Break it up and leave it to one side. Back comes the old school hand whisker. Thanks KitchenAid for all your help. Heard absolutely nothing from them. For the ice cream, be it a Cheats ice cream, in a bowl goes 600 millilitres of cream. Start whisking it together and then as you do, slowly stream in a tin of condensed milk. After a few minutes, stop whisking and add 2 tablespoons of vodka. Can we maybe not say anything to Ruth about me using her best vodka? The alcohol will stop the cream from freezing completely, leaving you with a nice soft ice cream opposed to a rock-solid lump of white ice. Next up, we're going to mix in the honeycomb. You want some big bits in there, but also don't be afraid to crush some up with your hands. The little bits will run through the ice cream and it almost gives it a lovely caramelly taste. Leave a few pieces of honeycomb aside to decorate later. After fully incorporating the honeycomb, we're going to use a loaf tin. So what you want to do is grease it with a little bit of butter and then put a piece of cling film in, making sure that you're lining all the corners. Now we'll bring back our brownie, which has been left to cool completely on a cooling rack, and we're going to cut it into some pieces that will fit into the loaf tin. Then we'll go in with ice cream in the base, our first layer of brownie. If you can get it in one piece, excellent. For me, it started to fall apart on transfer from the rack. We'll go with some more ice cream and then a last layer of brownie on top. Really, just playing Tetris with brownie now. Wrap this up with the sides of the cling film and then one big piece of cling film all the way around the loaf tin and get it in the freezer to firm up overnight. We're going to do a little sauce to go with this ice cream cake, and we're going to make a little raspberry coulis. A very simple one. Into a NutriBullet or blender goes a packet of raspberries, a tablespoon of icing sugar and a good squeeze of lemon juice. And then give it a blitz up. Pass it through a sieve, taking the seeds out, and you're left with a beautiful, vibrantly coloured raspberry coulis. The next day, take it out of your freezer, turn it out, dress it with a little bit of honeycomb on the top. And if you like honeycomb, and if you like brownie, you're going to love this. So there you have it, a honeycomb and chocolate brownie ice cream cake. I put it in the freezer a few days ago. We took it round to some friends last night to have it, which is why the shots of it aren't in its normal environment on this worktop. So I haven't got any to try in the outro, but I can assure you that I did try some. The brownie, nice and chocolatey, it had firmed up in the freezer, but it wasn't rock solid, which was great. And the ice cream, that little addition of that vodka just helped with the ice cream not being too firm, too solid. It was light, it was sort of creamy. The honeycomb sort of had started to almost melt into the ice cream, so you had this caramelly type swirl through it, as well as these lovely little chunks of airy honeycomb. Raspberry coulis. I don't like raspberries, so I made that for everyone else. It went down well. Follow that little recipe if you want to make a quick raspberry coulis. If you're going to make the ice cream cake, then definitely take some photos, tag us on Instagram, we'll repost it. Make sure that you like and subscribe to the YouTube channel, and we'll see you next time for some more food. See you later.